Okay, so now that we have a Drupal website ready and set up, let's have a look at how do we set up Aurora theme. So first of all, let's look for the theme online. And usually you can just write Aurora theme or Aurora Drupal theme, and it'll take you to the generic Drupal page for it. But there's a little link here that says Aurora documentation has moved online, so I like this site better. It's just better. And here on the Aurora documentation site, I usually just go to install, and there's some explanation on the requirements that Aurora needs. And
so can you explain a little bit about Aurora?
Yeah, so Aurora is a theme that's very it's very simplified. It doesn't come with a lot of styles to start with. It comes with some of the latest features in front-end development, which are the latest grids and the latest technologies such as Sass, and I believe you can integrate quite a few things here.
So is Aurora freeware?
Yeah, it's open source.
Okay, and if you should suggest a theme, you would also suggest Aurora.
Yeah, and Aurora is not really a theme. It's more like they call them a starter theme, or you call it a theme framework.
Okay, so basically it's like a base.
Yeah, exactly, like a base
theme.
A
house, it's the
perfect analogy.
Okay.
And it includes a lot of tools that just make your life easier.
That's good.
Yeah,
I like easy life.
So for this to work, we will need the terminal a lot, but I'll guide you through it.
Let me see.
So
that's so hardcore.
Yeah, I know. Anytime you need to work on the Drupal site from the terminal, the easiest way to get to the location is to switch to Acquia Dev Desktop and switch to the project that you are interested in. In our case, it's this one. And then you can click on this little terminal icon to open a fully featured terminal. Let me close this.
So my terminal look different. Why?
Because my terminal is awesome and yours is not. And, to make it awesome, you need to work a little.
Okay.
So here we are. This is the directory for our site. And if we do a simple ls, which is a command that lists whatever is in the folder, you'll see the contents. You're not there. So you need to go to Dev Desktop.
Oh, I need to do it from there. Okay.
And click on the little icon. Yeah. And generally, if you're on a Mac, it's very easy to just write open dot. So the dot means local folder, whatever folder you are in. And if you do that, it'll open Finder. And you can see whatever there is in the Drupal installation. And what I like to do, it's not necessary, but what I like to do is to give a color to the most important folder. So in our case, everything we need is inside sites. Then as we come inside sites, we need to mark all as well. Then inside all, there's a themes and module. These two folders are important for us.
So this folder structure look a little bit similar to what I did with the VR holiday. Is this kind of normal folder structure?
It's standard for Drupal.
Okay.
Totally. And here inside the modules, we will install any plugin we need, and we need quite a few. There's quite a few requirements. If you go back to the Aurora website and click on modules, then you'll see that there are certain modules that are required by this theme in order to work better. So there's the Magic module, HTML5 tools, jQuery update, Modernizer, Blockify, Borealis suite, and fences. These are and panels. So generally, with most of the websites that you build on Drupal, you want to have panels. Most of these modules will work on any theme, but these are recommended for Aurora in order to be better.
So
cleaner and easier to manage.
So can you explain about panel just a little bit?
Oh, it's something that should be covered separately because panels is a really huge topic.
Okay.
Yeah, it allows to create layouts inside Drupal, so you can then.
Oh, is that the thing they're using for putting these different kind of layouts?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Right.
I was designing for that.
Yeah, but that's a very, very simple explanation.
Okay.
So
That's good for me.
yeah, the way we do it is we can do it by using a tool called Drush. So if we go to Aurora setup here, and we click again on the terminal to come back to this terminal, and
so
then
it doesn't matter that I have two open now.
no, it doesn't matter. And now what we need to do is go inside the same. If you remember in Finder, we had to go to sites, sites all, and then inside there was the themes and the modules. So this time I want to go to sites all, and by the way, CD means change directory. So we're going to sites all, and we want modules.
Where's this?
And then we'll try and open modules to just check if there's nothing there. It is recommended that whenever you download a module that's part of the Drupal, Drupal modules, standard modules, you create a folder that's called contrib. So I'm just gonna use the terminal, or you can use Finder.
Right, open. Oh yeah, I should.
If you want to. And then you need also another one and call it custom. So whatever custom modules you'll be
So what
making.
did you just do this? No.
I simply made two folders.
Can I do it the old-fashioned way?
Totally.
Okay.
Just use Finder. Yeah.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna cd into contrib, and I'm going to use a tool called Drush. Drush comes with Acquia Desktop, and I'm going to say Drush, and then there's a command that says DL, which is a command for download, and you can place the name of the module that you wanna download. So this is easier than going on the website, downloading, unzipping, and copying things in here. It's easier to just use Drush, and in our case we need. I'll control click so that it opens it in a new window, and I'm going to need magic. I'm going to need HTML tools. There's
so
also
only custom, or you said two folders, right?
Yeah, custom and contrib. Then you can watch this later again if you would like to.
Okay.
If you've missed anything.
Yeah, because now magic and jQuery and.
Yeah, I know.
I'll just do magic now.
You'll do it, yeah.
Okay.
So all the every time you click on them, it'll probably take you to its Drupal org page. And if you look here at the end, there's project and then there's magic, and this usually is what you need to copy and then go back to the terminal and paste it here, and it'll be drush download magic. And if all goes well, it should. Let's open the contrib. It should already be downloaded and installed here. And I'm going to repeat the same thing for.
But it was not found. Was it DL magic?
DL. Yeah, you have to say drush DL magic.
What is drush?
Drush is the Drupal task runner. So that's what I was explaining. And then let's close this. Let's go to HTML tools and do the same thing. So again, drush DL HTML5 tools.
Yes.
Yeah, hopefully it's there. Let's close this. Let's get the jQuery update as well and do the same. Drush DL jQuery update. And then let's go to Modernizer here. Do the same thing. Drush DL Modernizer. And same thing for Blockify. Drush DL Blockify.
Exactly, about download.
Yeah, just do it.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and Borealis, Drush DL Borealis. Good. Fences, Drush DL fences. By the way, if you notice here, every time you are missing a dependency, Drush takes care and downloads all the dependencies you might need. I imagine panels should have a lot of a lot of different dependencies. So drush download panel. So a dependency is a module that is required by yeah. So see, for example, panels module cannot live by itself. It also needs panels node, panels mini, panels, all of these things. Now that we have them installed, downloaded, we have to activate it. So let's move to the Drupal website that we created earlier, and we'll go to modules here. And if you just use the search, you can find, for example, panels. So here's Blockify, and we'll just switch it on. We'll switch the enable thing. Here's panels, so I'm just going to enable. I'll enable jQuery update. Let's see.
Oh yeah, I see.
Let me enable Magic as well. Borealis.
Magic development.
Yeah, that's good. Fences.
That's these two, right?
Magic. I'm not gonna turn on Magic development for now. I will do it later.
I'm not gonna do it either.
Yeah, and some things are missing. For example, as you see here at HTML5 tools, it's missing elements. So let's just do Drupal and just paste elements, and it should take us to the elements project page. And now that we know what we want, we go back to the terminal and we go drush download elements. Great. So to activate, I'm just gonna save for now, and what it's going to do is it'll enable everything I asked it to enable. And now let's look through it again to make sure that elements is there, because we already downloaded it.
Oh, update information.
So here it is. So if I click this, it'll also enable elements right here. Let's do it like this. Great. And we're missing another very important module, which is called CTools. As you can see here, almost all of these panel-related modules, they are missing CTools. So let's go to CTools on Drupal. And here it is, just as expected. It's just called CTools. I'm gonna go drush dl CTools. Hopefully this is it. Let's go back to the modules again, save, and let's look for CTools and enable it. So here they are, KS tools. Here we go. And now that it's enabled, we can go back to panels and enable panels, mini panels, in place editor, all of this good stuff. Save. So now we have a pretty cool setup here that will allow us to do a lot of cool things. Now that we have panels enabled, we have KS tools, we have CTools, we've got a lot of useful HTML5. You know, like for example, this really cool HTML5 tools is pretty nice because it helps Drupal provide, output better markup, HTML5 markup, instead of the old HTML4 markup. There's quite a few other, like Blockify will allow you to edit certain elements that are hidden. Usually, they're in a different, separate directory. But what Blockify will do is it'll expose them so that you can edit them easily. And yeah. So these are great great tools. You just read about them. There's information here so you can learn about what they do and why they're required. Now it's time to install the theme itself. So the theme is installed through what's called Yeoman generators. Now Yeoman is a very interesting little piece of software. What it does is there are generators, and if you can think of them, they're like recipes for for front end usually. So what Yeoman will allow you is it'll allow you to search for these generators and when you want to start a project, it will allow you to start a bare-bone simple project based on what you need. For example, if you want to start an AngularJS application, you can use Yeoman to install a very basic HTML, JavaScript application with a little server that refreshes the screen every time you save the file. It's got a lot of really cool things. And among these generators, it also has the Aurora theme, which goes by Drupal generator Drupal theme. I guess this is what it goes by. But we don't need this. All we need really is to install Yeoman. So just go and learn how to install it, and when you're done, this is how you install it really. And I already have it installed, but this basically means npm, which is Node Package Manager. So first, I guess you have to check if you guys have npm, and if you just do npm and it says that nothing is found, like it's not a command, then it means you're missing a very important piece of software, which is Node.js, which you can install on nodejs.org. I'm sure you are, right? Missing it?
Yeah, I'm missing it.
Okay, good. So just go to nodejs.org and just click on the install, and usually it'll take you to a page where you can choose. Oh, okay, so they've changed. They know what system you have, and they will just download it for you. And after you download it, it's a very straightforward installation. Just installation wizard.
So click install.
Yeah, it'll download the installer for you. And usually it'll install both Node.js and npm, which is the Node Package Manager. That's what it means.
So much stuff is happening.
Oh, there's more coming.
Wow, I can't believe.
Right, and now with Node.js, we will install globally. So -G means it will install system-wide. A few things here: Yo, which is Yeoman; Bower, which is a JavaScript package manager; Grunt CLI, which is the command line interface for Grunt; and Gulp. Really, what we need is we only need Gulp, but let's install everything just in case. So I already have this installed on my computer. And if you look here, if I say yo, then you'll see the greeting from Yeoman. It says, "Hi, hello Igor, what would you like to do?" And these are some of the things that I have.
We need to install this stuff first, right? No.
Yeah, so you need to do that.
They already have it?
I already have it, and I think DevDol and Claire should have it as well. So I'll just go ahead with the tutorial. Okay. And so now that we have Yeoman installed, let's go back to Aurora documentation, and it'll say you can update the generator, which is a great idea because my generator, I haven't done it in a while, so I'm gonna say npm update generator Drupal theme, because I'm pretty sure my generator, my Yeoman package is old. I haven't done this for at least 4 months now. If it doesn't work, if you see a lot of errors, then just write sudo and the same command as before. Like right now, I got a lot of errors here.
Right, yo, and it doesn't.
So then, what I'm going to do is, because I got the same errors as you did, it means it doesn't have access to this directory.
But it's not even greeting me the Yeoman.
So I'm gonna do sudo npm, and you have to do install, and I'll do update, and then you have to provide your password. So yeah, that's right, exactly. Just provide your password, and it should work then.
But I'm a bit. But why didn't it greet me when I write yo? It's
because it's not installed yet. You're installing it now.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I wanted to say.
So this stuff you usually have to do only once. Okay, now that I have updated my my package, I can go ahead and go yo, and I can just go yo and enter. But wait, let's take it back a little bit. So if you look here now, we are inside the contrib modules directory. So we need to go back, and to go back you have to go cd ... That means it takes you up a level. So I'm gonna go up 2 levels, and then I'll list whatever's in here, and I need themes. So I'm gonna go current directory, themes, and inside themes here I will create a new directory, and I'll call it let's call it Aurora. Let's go into the theme directory and say yo, and we're gonna say if you go here to yeah, right here, I'm gonna say yo generator Drupal theme. Actually it doesn't work. 1 second. So I'm just gonna go yo, and I'm going to just pick out of these, out of the one that I have installed. I'll pick Drupal theme. So it's going to guide me through a little bit of scaffolding, and it's going to ask me the name of the theme. Just a second, guys. Let me read here. Okay, so I believe that I have to go back and download Aurora first and install it here in the themes directory. So let's stop by clicking Command C, Control C. We can stop Yeoman, and let me go back into the themes directory. Remove Aurora, the folder. It's going to say it's a directory, so I'm going to go rm minus force Aurora still, and if I go rf, it should work. There we go. And now I'm going to use Drush again to install the theme. So I'm going to go back to the Aurora on Drupal work page. I'm going to look what it's called. It's called Aurora here, and I'm just going to go Drush DL Aurora. And hopefully this will download Aurora into my themes.
But when we work with the units, do we all have to do this on each of our computers?
No, because then we'll just have to pool whatever. We're going to all work on one source.
Okay.
Yeah. So then it's going to be a lot easier. But this thing you have to do only the first time you set up Aurora. So now that I did this, you'll see.
But I don't have to set up Aurora. Because
you don't have to, but it's really good to know. So,
okay.
So here, now as you can see here, I'll open this folder. We have downloaded the Aurora here, installed it in the themes directory in Drupal, on our Drupal website. And now Aurora, if you go back to your Drupal site and you go to Appearance, you'll see that there's a new theme here, and it's called Aurora. And you can enable it just to see what it's, and you can also set it as default, and it'll affect the entire site, I believe. Let's do this here. Let's refresh, and you'll see the bare bone, slimmed down Aurora theme is already installed. But this is not what we want. What we want with Aurora theme is we want to create a sub-theme that is based on Aurora, but we don't want to change the Aurora code itself. We just need to use the Aurora code to use its functionality as a base theme, but we need to create what they call a child theme or a sub-theme.
So is this for SNU?
Yes.
But SNU already have
We've done this for SNU.
You already done it?
Yeah.
Also, you just explained what you did.
Yeah, and we're doing it for the next project we're doing. Yeah. So if you go here back to the documentation and go to sub-themes, you'll notice that this is how you create a sub-theme. And that's why I got confused about. But here you go, basically you go to your terminal, and you make sure you install all the prerequisites, which we have. We also did the Yeoman, and then I go to inside our theme folder and I run yo Drupal theme. Very simple, very straightforward. I'm already here. If you go pwd, it shows you which directory you're currently in, and we are currently inside inside the themes folder. And I'll just go yo Drupal theme, where I just write yo and choose, and it's going to ask me what is going to be our theme's name. For the sake of the tutorial, I'm just going to call it child, right? And it's going to ask me if we want to use a base theme, and I'm going to choose Aurora. It's going to ask me here, there's different variations of Aurora. You guys can read up on the differences between them here. There's just, I like to use the regular Aurora subtheme flavor. Some people prefer Polaris, but I find that this SMA CSS is too, I don't necessarily like the structure that they put, but basically it's the same theme but made with a different structure. I found that Aurora structure works best with me, so I will select Aurora here, and then it asks me, do you want to customize your theme's directories? I can just say no. It'll basically ask me where do I want my JavaScript files, where do I want my images, where do I want, and here, this is interesting, is you use your space to select. These are kind of radio buttons, and you need Bower for both, but you need to make a selection between Gulp or Grunt. You cannot have both of them. And for this project, let's have Gulp, because Gulp is lighter, and I found that it works better than Grunt. But Grunt and Gulp are basically the same. They have the same principle and the same use.
What
and you can. So this is like, it's called a task runner. So when you want to compile the SAS file, so you want to, back in the days you had to type a very long line of code, to tell in the terminal. But in this case, you can create little tasks like gulp compile, gulp build. You can even have a deploy, or so that it sends it to the server. Or you can have a lot of little tasks, and you can write them in JavaScript because they're based on JavaScript. And this is Gulp, and you can learn about it there. And if you want to learn more about Grunt, you can go to grunt.js.com. And I've been using Grunt for about a year, and then I switched to Gulp because I felt Gulp was lighter and more interesting. So I'll select Gulp and Bower, and it's going to create everything that I asked it to. Now, if you have any errors during this process, then you should go on forums and try to find a way out. Front-end stuff is tricky. Sometimes there's a lot of things working now and talking to each other, and inevitably, as you can see right now on my system, there's a problem, right? So like, what do we have here? Well, something doesn't work with the I/O. It's really hard to debug, but if you try hard, you will get to the bottom of it. Hopefully, you won't have any errors. Let me open the directory. Let me check the directory here. It seems to be okay. And let's go inside child and try to run. Okay, so first of all, we need to install Ruby. So that's the problem with the front-end development today, is that we have so many things working together from different programming languages, all mashed up in this mash of technologies to make our lives easier. So the setup is difficult, but it eventually makes our life easier. In this case, we have to install Ruby here. Now let me just quickly check if I have already a Ruby. So I have 2.20. It seems to require 2.00. I don't have it. So what I'm going to do is I will just list everything. -A is for list all. And I'm going to try to identify the reason why I get this error. So I see here there's a file called Ruby version. And let's just open it really quickly with Vim or yeah, let's just use Vim Ruby version. And you'll see here that inside this Ruby version, the version is specified. Now this is not a very good practice. I don't know why the guys at Aurora left this here, but usually it's enough to specify the version rather than also the exact build. So I'm just going to delete this. and I'm going to leave it at 2.20 because this is what I have. And I also suggest that you guys install 2.2 because it's one of the latest, I believe. So let's see if there's any new version of Ruby that I'm not aware of. No, so 2.2 seems to be the latest MRI. This is the official Ruby that is available. So now that we have this settled, let's go out of the directory and just come back in to see if it's gonna do that. See, there's no more error. It doesn't say you have to install Ruby 2.0 anymore. And now we have to run a couple of commands to get our theme ready. And also we'll have to check out what was that error all about before. Hopefully it's nothing too serious. So to do this, first I'm going to run bundle install. I believe this should be somewhere here in the documentation. But if it's not, here's how you do it. You need to install all the Ruby dependencies. And to install the Ruby dependencies, you have to do bundle install. Second thing we have to do is we have to install all the node dependencies. So we have to do node. Let's list everything again and see that if there is a file called packages.json. And yes, it's right here. It's called package.json. So that means we need to run npm install. So this is the same as before, but it'll install them locally only for this project. You don't have to know everything here, but it's good to know. So I'm gonna go sudo.
On my computer.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go again sudo and enter my password to see if this will fix it. It should. And voila, we have all the node dependencies. And let's just quickly check: do we have a Bower here? And we do. We have Bower, and Bower is the third dependency that we need to install. And I'm just gonna go Bower install, and this will bring all the JavaScript dependencies inside Bower components right here. Now you guys have to really Google each one of these tools and get familiar. You don't need to know everything, but just get familiar with how they work. And now the moment of truth has come. I'm going to run gulp to see to run whatever tasks there are in here in this gulp file.js. So I'm just gonna run gulp. I'm sure it's going to crash. The reason is because of the error that I saw before. So I'm going to open this directory in Sublime. So another way to do this is Sublime, yeah. You can use any editor that you are familiar with. I use Sublime Text. You can use
Mood or Dreamweaver or something.
Yeah, you can use maybe I don't know, PHP Storm, or all kinds of editors, even Dreamweaver, if you're very if you like Adobe products. So what I can do is I can just click open dot to open this file. I will go up one level here, and then I can drag this to whatever editor I'm planning to use. In my case, I will use Sublime, so I'll open it in Sublime. Here we are, and let's look at the gulp file and see what is causing our problem. So I'll look at the error here, and it seems to have a problem with browser sync. So one way to fix this problem is to disable it. So I'm going to disable it. I'm just going to comment this line here. And it's not enough to comment this line. We also need to make sure that wherever we use this variable later in the gulp file, see, for example, this is the browser sync task. We don't need it, so we're going to disable it too. And let's also find, here it is. There's another one here. I'm going to remove it from here. Let's see. Sync. I'm going to just make a quick search to make sure I didn't miss anything. It seems like I haven't. I saved it. And then I'll go back to this and go gulp one more time to see if this fixed it. And lo and behold, it has fixed it. Now, the default task here that gulp has, and just read up on gulp.js and you'll find out more, but the default task has these three tasks that it runs, including compass and scripts and watch. And this is the one I'm interested in. It's called watch. And what watch will do is it will when you run gulp and you click enter, what it'll do is it will wait, and it'll wait for any kind of changes that you would make inside the sus directory. Now sus directory has all the design files broken up into little files, and you can create more and more files here. But just I want you to have a look at the screen here. Here's the terminal, and I'm going to pretend to write something inside base sus, and as soon as I save it, check out in this area. As soon as I save the file, it's going to detect that something changed. It's going to recompile the file, and then you can go back into Drupal and refresh to see if your changes have had any effect. So we're almost at the end of our tutorial, but before we can move on, we need to go to Appearance, go to our child theme and find it. Here it is. And we need to enable and set it as default. And this is our theme now. This is our main theme. Now it didn't change because it's not different from the parent theme, but we're going to make it a little bit different right away. So what I like to do is I will show you how to add a file to it, and this is going to be it. So let's say that for the design, so inside global, it's good to place your variables. So I'm going to create a new file here inside the global, and I'm going to save it with an leading underscore. I'll call it colors.scss, which is the default extension for Sass files. And I'm going to create a color, which I will call gray, and I will give it, this is a Sass, so you just learn a little bit about Sass, but gray, and I will give it EEE as its hex code for this color. You can use 6 or 3 letters, it's up to you. I'll save it, and I will create inside the design folder, I'll create another file, and I'll call it colors. I know it's a little confusing, but it will make sense really soon. And here we describe the design. For example, we can say here that body, right, the whole body of our website will have background color, and it'll be gray. I'll save it. Now, if I refresh here, nothing happens, and the reason nothing happens is because we haven't told gulp and Sass to include these files in the final Sass. So if you look here, this is the final file that we're interested in that gets added to Drupal. So to do this, I have to go to the main file, which in our case is style.scss, and I have to import it. So in our case, we need to import this colors where all the variables are. So let's go back to style, and I'm going to write at import, and I'm going to follow the same pattern. Partials, global, and inside global I'll just add colors without the leading underscore. So this is our variables, our color variables. I made a mistake. I saved it before I put the column, so it crashed. And this is good to know. Just run gulp one more time and it should work. And now inside the design folder, I'm going to do another import to import our color design. So I'm going to go colors here, save. Now the last one doesn't have to have semicolon, but I still like to put it. And now if we refresh, as you can tell, the background has changed slightly. And the nice thing here is you can go back to, you can make a huge design and use gray everywhere. And at some point we might decide that this gray is too light, and you'll want something a little darker, like CCC. And I'm just going to change the variable, save it, and as I refresh here, it's going to become darker. Because the variables, wherever you use gray, it's always going to affect everything at once, which is like taking CSS to a new level. That's it. I hope this was useful, and if you have any questions, let me know and we can talk about them later.